This is gonna be the most whimsical project I've ever done. I'm gonna completely transform this bland corner into a cozy hobbit hole for the world's cutest corgi. We'll be bending wood and sewing fabric. There'll be power tools and cozy textiles and lots of twinkle lights. I'm gonna make a dog bed that would be the envy of the Shire, and by the end of this video, it's not just gonna be a DIY project, it's gonna be a vibe. Okay friends, it is finally here and I am so excited. I have been wanting to do this all year. I've been collecting images and ideas, inspiration, including a lot of it from you, the viewer, and now it is finally time to make this bed a reality. See, here's the thing. This is a queen size bed, which feels like it should be plenty of space, except that come nighttime when I have to share it with this little beast, it effectively becomes a twin size bed. If you have dogs at home and you let them sleep with you, you can probably relate. If you're new here, this pint-sized bed hog is Cannelle, that's French for cinnamon, and she is absolutely adorable, despite taking up far too much real estate on my bed. Would you like to say hi to people? Huh? Now, in the past, the way I've solved this problem is by building her a little bed extension. Effectively, a miniature bed of her own at the same height as the regular bed, but just off to the side, and it's worked perfectly. She loves it, I love it, nobody gets kicked. It's amazing. So that's what I'm gonna do here, except this time with a whimsical twist. Oh, good grief. Okay, the lighting in this room, and especially in this corner, is absolute garbage, but bear with me, because this is the corner where the bed is going to go. It is going to take the place of what is a very temporary makeshift nightstand, and I thought we could sit here really quick and talk about the requirements, because there are 3 of them. And the first one is that it has to be the same height as the main bed, or very close to it. It needs to feel like a natural extension of the main bed, because otherwise, Princess over there won't use it. Nobody puts baby in a corner, and nobody puts Cannelle in a corner either. Second of all, it's gotta be cute and cozy and whimsical. I want this corgi bed to spark joy. I wanna giggle every time that I look at it. And last but not least, any and all lights that go into this project, because yes, you better bet that it's gonna be full of twinkling fairy lights by the time I'm done with it, they all need to be operated with a plug. No batteries anywhere in sight. So let's chat really quick about what I want this to look like. At least version 1. I'm gonna pull in this IKEA dresser. I had very specific dimensions that I needed to fit so that this would work as the platform for this bed, and this is the only one I could find. So let's pop that in there. Something like this for the roof line. Hobbit door. Slap a roof on it, bricks around the doorway, maybe some like vines. I'll probably put some moss in the roof, add some fairy lights all in there, and that's kind of what we're sitting with. Again, this is version 1, it is subject to change. So I think we need to go upstairs, and I'm just gonna get things set up and we're gonna walk through it in cardboard. Try to visualize this in 3D instead of 2D. Okay, so here we are. I've got one cushion here. Now this was part of one of those tri-fold cushions that you can get to sit on or to do acrobatics on. The other 2 cushions are here. I got it at the thrift store. It was only $7, and it makes up basically the perfect height here. Now this obviously will get recovered to be more aesthetically appropriate, but for the moment, all we care about is that it is functional, and I have got the final height, so now it is time to go get some cardboard. How big is corgi circle? I need props. So I'm at a point that I'm quite pleased with. I've set the proportions for the door and the window here. I've also set some key heights for the, Canel's ears blocking it, but right there, that's the lower point of the roof. That green dot up there is the upper point of the roof. And I've kind of sloppily connected the dots here. I need to go in and smooth that out a little bit. There's also something that's not working with the placement of the off-center roof line and its alignment to the door and the window. It's not sitting right, but because I have the proportions all set, the sizes are going to stay the same. I can pretty easily just take this cardboard down, lay it down on a table where it's going to be infinitely easier to work on it, and just fiddle with them a little bit. So that's the next step for me. And then I think it's time to go to the lumberyard. But while I'm doing that, I think I'm going to send you guys thrifting. Does that sound good to you? Oh, does that sound good to you? Would you like to go thrifting? All right, well, you're taking the corgi with you, so have fun thrifting. Bye. All right, friends, buckle up because we're gonna go on a little thrift run. Top on the list, some sort of shrubbery, vines, leaves, flowers, plug-in twinkle light, a glue gun, and some glue sticks, miscellaneous craft supplies, maybe something like some latch hook rug supplies, thrifted yarn in mossy colors, stuff like that. So yeah, buckle in because we are about to have some fun times thrifting. Heck yeah. Okay, so stop number one, already a great success. We have so much greenery. I found 2 fantastic bundles of ivy looking vines. Really happy to check that off my price. Plus, got some really fun friendly flowers, some grass, more plastic foliage. That hit a lot of items on my list, but I do have 2 more locations that are fairly close by that I would like to try. So we're gonna just continue on and have fun. I'm having fun. Are you having fun? Yeah, let's go try and find some craft supplies. Okay, so their goofy knick-knack game, on point. Their whimsical foliage game left something to be desired, so kind of walked out of there pretty much empty-handed. We have 1 stop left on the list, and about half of our items checked off. May the thrifting gods be with us. Okay, so that last one was completely packed. I took hardly any footage in there because it was just, there were so many people. I managed to get some fun crafting stuff. This, a little bit more greenery, found a cute t-shirt, some moss. Very excited about that. Honestly, this is a fantastic haul. Whimsical corgi hobbit hole haul, here I come. All right, kids, back, and things are about to get crazy around here, so buckle up. Strap in, we are about to shift into high gear, but first, I am starving. I need some lunch, and on the menu today is a chicken taco bowl from today's sponsor, Factor. I'm always thrilled to work with Factor because I genuinely use their service. I pay for it out of my own pocket every week, and I've got the receipts to show for it. And because I've been using them for over a year now, I'm in the perfect position to vouch for how useful and tasty their meals are. I could rave about how they've continued to improve their menu, and they've added more meals from a variety of cuisines. But let's be honest, like the thing that I value most about their service is that it is incredibly useful. It saves me a ton of time. It has taken a mental load off of my brain when I'm here at the house working on projects and renovating. And also it's just very user friendly. It's so easy to use. I don't have to jump through hoops to pause the service or adjust my plan. And that is something that is incredibly valuable to me. So I'm gonna give them a wholehearted 2 thumbs up, 5 stars. If you wanna save some time in your cooking and still eat healthy and tasty, be sure to give them a try. You don't have to use them to cook all of your meals either. Like, look, I take a 6-meal box sometimes and I cook the rest of the meals myself. It just depends on how much time and energy I have in my day. So if you would like to give them a try, head to factor75.com or click the link below, scan the QR code on screen and use my code MAKESFB50 to get 50% off of your first Factor box. Plus comes with free breakfast for 1 year. That's code MAKESFB50 at factor75.com to get 50% off plus free breakfast for 1 year. So, did you have fun thrifting? Did you find some good stuff? I sure hope so, and we will put it to good use. But first, we have to actually build the thing. So, I have my plywood here, copious amounts, and more importantly, I have my final finished template. I don't want to even tell you how long I spent on this yesterday just perfecting the layout, but I finally am at a place where I'm happy with it. I have the final draft right here, so now we can finally cut it out of wood and start assembling it. Let the fun begin! Back to work. Well, it took me almost 2 days to get to this point, but I am so happy. It is looking so good. It's finally starting to look like an actual hobbit hole. It's held down to the MDF by this long strip of wood running along the bottom here. It's also stabilized in the upper corner too, and that's not only just helping to keep it steady, but it's also making sure it stays plumb until I can attach the roof, and then everything will become much more solidified and one unit. Speaking of the roof though, the last thing I did in that build montage was I went in and I glued all of these little pieces of hardwood onto the roof line, and that's just gonna make for a little bit better landing pad for my roof. You can also see it back here. I have kind of an echo of the roof line, and that's going to be the other surface that I attach the roof on. It's just going to be sitting on both of these, and that is the next thing I'm going to do. And I think I'm just going to go about it the same way that I did the front facade, and I'm going to start piecing it together with cardboard because it's going to be a really weird shape. But first, a moment of silence for all the Rice Krispies treats I had to eat for this roof to become a reality. Now, the reason that I think we're gonna end up with a really funky roofline is kind of due to a few different reasons. First of all, this green wall over here. Oh, nice shit. As you can kind of see in the corner of the screen, it's not vertical, it's actually at an angle. But the rest of this is nice and vertical, so already we'd be in for some funky compound miters, but then add in the graceful, curving, swooping roofline, and the fact that I want this roof to extend past the front facade, but not by an even amount. No. I want the depth of the overhang to vary depending on the height of the roof itself, and I think we're in for some mighty weird shapes. Okay, finally done with the templates. The first side is definitely a little bit more chaotic, a lot of different little pieces. The second side is much neater. I kind of nailed my technique down as I went along, but they're both gonna do the job. They're more than sufficient to give me a good idea of what these final pieces are gonna need to look like. So now the next step for me, I'm gonna very carefully peel these off of here into two distinct, intact templates, and then I'm gonna use those. I'm gonna run to the hardware store and figure out what material I ultimately want this to be out of. You want that one? Van Gogh's wheat field. Oh, so artistic, kinda. Now, since dogs are not known for having the best eye for color, I decided to review the choice myself. And just grabbing those lines that you thrifted to help me visualize the perfect shade of Shire yellow. Ooh, it's gonna be cute though. Sunflower yellow, for sure. Cut to me walking around the forest with a handsaw and a tripod, looking for a stick, the perfect stick. It's gotta have a very distinct shape, very specific size. I don't actually know if we're gonna find it, but we're certainly gonna try, because my options are find one, make one, or abandon the idea. And honestly, might just have to abandon the idea, I'm not sure. Also, I did set down the camera to hook up my mic, and I think I got some pretty cute footage of Canal. So if I did, I'll throw it in here because it's adorable, as always. Okay. It would be really cool to find the perfect log, because then it would go in the corner, it would look like the inspiration image. I think it would be really cool, but it's going to be a bit tricky because it has to have kind of really specific shape. I'll show you the drawing here. Otherwise, Canal's not going to be able to get into it, which kind of defeats the purpose. Holy macaroni, friends, I just found, I think, the biggest mushroom I have ever seen. It's very Last of Us. Check it out. I don't know if the scale of these things is coming across on camera, but like this one, for example, easily 2 of my hands, almost 3 of my hands big. Look how big that is. Wow. They're huge. Like, look at this. Look how big that is. So it turns out we are actually the perfect season for mushrooms. I keep seeing so many all over, and they're all gorgeous, and I'm going to share them all with you because I'm so excited. And I hope that we're actually going to be able to find my favorite mushroom, because I actually haven't been in this woods since last year, but I have a favorite mushroom here, and it's my favorite because it tells a very clear story. So while we're looking for these logs, also going to keep my eye peeled for my favorite mushroom. And it looks like it's still there. Oh, yep, here it is. It is still intact. Oh my goodness. And we have a third one. Okay, so fun. So this one here is the original mushroom. That's number 1. Then this mushroom is number 2, and now we have a third friend that has joined on. So this is now a trifecta of mushroomception. We've got some other mushrooms there and there. They're all the same type, but what I think is so cool is they tell such a clear story. These mushrooms, I don't know the name of them or what type they are, they're nature's shelves. They always grow horizontally. And so obviously the majority of these mushrooms, they grew while this tree was still standing, probably still alive. And then at some point it fell down, and then the second mushroom grew on, but like perfectly in the middle of it. And because the tree has now changed orientation by 90 degrees, the shelf mushroom also changed its orientation, and now you have this really cool intercepting mushroomception situation. I am a little bit bummed to see that the first mushroom, the original one, is starting to decay and fall apart, because we're losing that story, you know? But that's life, that's nature, that's the way of things, just as this is also the way of things. You silly dog, let's throw your stick. Whee! The quest continues. Onwards. Ooh, friends, I don't know if you can see it, but I might have found the perfect stick. Maybe. Gotta go take a closer look. So I do believe I've actually found the perfect stick. It's got the right angle, the right general shape. It has gotten the Corgi seal of approval, so I think I'm just gonna take out my saw and start cutting it down. Yeehaw! Wow. Yeah, before anyone comments, I do realize this is not the best saw for the job, but listen, it's the only saw that fit in my backpack. Because ability to fit in backpacks is generally not one of the criteria I have in mind when picking saws. But I got it! Success! Which means we can go home and then throw this in the oven? I guess? Good morning, friends! Today is going to be a day of pulling stuff together. I have got my paint here. I'm going to be painting the facade, going to be working on the roof, cutting down some shingles. We've got a lot of stuff to do and not a lot of time to do it in, so let's put on some cheerful music and get to work. Oh, that's fun. I'd say it's working. So much went into this process that had to be cut for the sake of time. So if you want more making, more behind the scenes of how this went together, and more Corgi, the full version is up on my Patreon, and it is well over an hour. I've always loved bunting, and I absolutely adore miniatures, and so miniature bunting, it just tickles all my fancies. Not to mention that this fabric, it's all from you, the viewer. So thank you so much for helping adorn Cannell's Hobbit Hole. So I went out and got myself plenty of cedar shingles, but the problem is that they are very much human-sized, like human house-sized, and I need them to be Corgi house-sized. right, folks, I'm so excited because we are finally at a stage where all of the individual components are sort of assembled and ready to go. And now it is just time to put them all together. So yes, this roof is held together by a combination of glue, brad nails, boiling water, clamps, basically anything to help persuade these boards to bend and stay bent. And I wouldn't trust it in a strong wind, but you know, there is a reason hobbits tend to live under hills, and it's actually because they're really bad roofers. Well, that took absolutely forever, but we are now to my favorite part of all, the decorating, the aesthetic, the vibes. I did promise fairy lights. I'm super happy to report that not only does this hobbit hole check all of my boxes, it makes me giggle every time I look at it, but Cannell loves it too. She will just tuck herself away at nighttime because hobbit holes mean comfort. And what are corgis if not real life hobbits? If you loved this build, there will be more like it, but it would be sprinkled in here and there among mainly renovation content, so if you're not interested in that, please don't subscribe. It won't do you or me any good, but I will recommend my corgi-sized fainting couch build for even more pint-sized whimsy and construction, and it should be on screen right now. Which one do you want?